Hey guys, Steve Trowbridge here. So I'm back with another review, and I'm here to review episode 5 of Shadowhunters, obviously. So just got done watching, and this episode was, it was pretty much the aftermath of what happened in the last episode, when we got the shocking death of Jocelyn Fairchild, which I was very surprised about. I didn't think they were going to do that, but I guess it just tells you that anything can happen in this series. I mean, I guess one moment one of the characters that we don't think will die. Like, I mean, who knows, maybe they'll kill off Alec later in the show or something. I don't know. Hopefully not, but point is it was unexpected. So basically throughout this whole episode we had Clary, she can't really, I think she's in shock. Like she doesn't feel anything. Like she's very much in shock about what has happened to her mom. But at the end of the episode, we really see her start to kind of like break down, and actually she realizes that her mom is actually gone. But at the beginning, she's obviously just distraught about her mom's death and everything. It was really unexpected. And, Clary is just like, she can't be dead. She died so unexpectedly. It was a freak accident and everything. I want more time with her. She's having a really hard time coming to grips with the fact that her mom is dead. So she finds out, she wants to know if, her mom can be brought back from the dead, if she can be brought back or resurrected or whatever. And, pretty much everyone, she goes to Magnus, and Magnus is like, yes, she can be brought back, but that's really dark magic. And, obviously other people say, you don't, Jace later says you don't know what you'll get, you could bring back her in a demon form. But of course, Clary wants to take the chance, which, I mean, kind of feels like her character, because in the book she made a lot of reckless decisions. So, yeah, so there was that. We get her meeting up with this warlock, Iris Rouse, I think that's her name, her last name, Iris Rouse. I don't recognize her from the books, but I think she's probably just another character that they kind of made for the show. She's an interesting character. The actor who played her was pretty good. She's an interesting character. I think she's obviously a little more darker than, probably more darker than anything, a little malevolent. But Clary goes to her house and makes a deal with her to bring back her mom in return for a favor from Clary, from a Shadowhunter. But she needs like a piece of her mom, like like one of her mom's belongings or something. So later on, Clary gets a piece of Jocelyn's hair, and Jace catches her, and that's when he tells her, and when Clary tells him what she's planning to do, and Jace is just like, it's not a good idea, because you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, it could turn out really wrong, etc., etc. So yeah, but Clary goes ahead and does it anyways, and goes to the house, and Alec comes with her, because throughout this whole episode, Alec really just kind of blames himself, because even though it wasn't really him that actually killed Jocelyn, like the demon took his body and killed Jocelyn with Alec's body. So Alex feels really responsible, even though it's not actually his fault that it happened. He still blames himself, and we kind of see that throughout this whole episode. He really blames himself, and he's taking a lot of the blame, and he's just very depressed about it, which can be understandable. He goes to, when we see Alec, he goes to Magnus, they talk about it and everything. He just like, I just don't know if I can face Clary. Alec is just like, I don't know if I can do this or not, so eventually when Alec goes to Clary just doesn't want to see him, obviously, but then, Alec is like, well, I'll do anything to help, I'm sorry, I would do anything to bring her back. And then Clary was like, well, we actually can bring her back. So she tells him about what's going on, and Alec agrees to go, like, almost instantly, because obviously he'd do anything to bring her back. So that's when they go to the warlock's house, and there's this really strange child there, and she's got like gills or something, because because the warlock says Alec needs to stay at the front, while Clary goes with her, and like the child is staring at him and everything, and Alex is like kind of creeped out, and we see that she has like gills or something on her neck. So there's something strange going on there. There was also another lady there that had like babies, like several of them, and we find out later when Clary decides, because earlier when Clary went there, there was a bird that the Warlock brought back to life to like prove a point to Clary that she could bring lives back. I guess that's what that was supposed to be. And then later on, the same bird, I'm guessing, comes back. It comes in through the window. The Warlock takes it, snaps its neck, and then just drops to the ground. That's when Clary's like, okay, I think this bitch is a little bit crazy. So she's just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. She takes the hair. It's like, I'm out. Peace. But then like the Warlock obviously won't let her go, and she's like, we still have a deal. And Clary's like, no, the deal's off. And the Warlock is like, well, you still owe me a favor. And we find out that the Warlock wants to impregnate Clary with a demon and make her have a demon baby Shadowhunter, half Shadowhunter, half demon. And we know someone who is that, but I won't say anything for people who haven't read the books. But yeah, and Clary's like, well, that can't be done. Then obviously, then we find out that the Warlock has spiked her drink. So, yeah, and then like the Warlock puts Clary in this like dungeon. And there's this demon, this thing that's like crawling, and it like has like these spikes on his back, and it was really creepy. But somehow Clary saw a vision of a rune, and she just created it, and then like blasted the demon with like sun rays from her hand or something. So that could possibly be her power, because in the books Clary has the power to create runes, so maybe we're starting to get that a little bit in the show, where it's showing her actual power that she has to create runes. So yeah, that's what happened. Alec and Isabel come to save Clary, and the Iris takes that child and escapes through the portal. And yeah, the woman that was at the house, she has like several babies that are like demons and everything, that are half demons, so there's obviously some evil shit going on there, was going on there anyways, but yeah, and then we had Simon in this episode, poor Simon. Basically, he's, you know, he's struggling, you know, I mean, he's obviously still dealing with all this, you know, we got, Simon in one scene, you know, Simon and Clary were talking, and, you know, that's where she got the idea if she could bring Jocelyn back, because Simon came back from the dead as a vampire, so she figures that, she can bring, Jocelyn back, and we get that one scene with Clary and Simon when Clary comes to that realization. Later on we get a scene with, Simon and his mom outside, and, it looks like Simon is about to confess to her, but he doesn't. And he's just like, oh, you just mean a lot to me, Mom. And she's just like, you know, oh, yeah, you know, I'm just glad you're home. And then later on, we have several scenes in the bedroom. His sister comes in. She's kind of funny. She finds the blood on his desk, and she's like, is this blood? I work in the hospital, so I know what real blood smells like. And Simon is he's like, oh, we got that. It's fake blood for a project that I'm doing with my band, this Ozzy Osbourne type of thing. And, yeah, she was like, yeah, I know what real blood smells like. So she goes to dump it out, which is obviously not good. So Simon is freaking out, and she tried to open the windows, and he's like, don't do that, and then she opens the windows anyway, so he's obviously trying to stay out of the rays of sunlight, because he'll burn. And then later on we get another scene in the bedroom where his mom comes in, and she sees that he hasn't eaten his dinner. And so she's obviously wondering what's going on, and finally Simon spills the beans that he's a vampire, but his mom obviously doesn't believe him and thinks it's a joke. But then Simon says, no, I'm telling the truth, you gotta believe me. And so his mom is like, okay, I believe you. But then you can obviously tell that she still doesn't believe him and thinks that he's got some mental issues or something, or he's developed some mental issues or some type of sickness or something. So we get that, and then later on in the episode, I don't know if it was later on in the episode, not towards the end, but kind of, we get a scene where she's calling, like, doctors and everything, and she's like, actually, I do have a medical reason for it, and it's obviously for Simon. And then she goes back into the room, and she finds Simon drinking blood from a rat. So, yeah. so we got that, and then um, I'm trying to think. I feel like there's something else. You know, we had Alec this episode. We had Simon. Oh, Isabel. Isabel is still dealing with the wound on her shoulder because last week's episode, the demon possessed Isabel, and Clary had to stab Isabel in the shoulder to get the demon out, for the demon to come out. And she's still dealing with that wound. Like, we get a scene where we get several instances where she's kind of like you know, like grasping at her shoulder and everything. Obviously, the wound is still bothering her, and we get a scene where Jace and Isabel are practicing, like, fighting with, like, practicing the fighting and all that, going through their routine. And we see there again that Isabel's injury is still bothering her. So finally, she goes to Alder Tree, and the Iron Sisters or there's this mission to go see the Iron Sisters, and that was another thing from the book, because Isabel in the book, I believe, wanted to be an Iron Sister and was really fascinated with the Iron Sisters. Or actually, no, I don't think so, because I think she considered being an Iron Sister at one point. I'm really sorry. It's been a while since I read the books. I know I got a comment, so I need to refresh myself on the books. I can't remember. I know that she was... The Iron Sisters in the book, like, said you could be a good Iron Sister. I really can't remember. I really apologize. But I know that there was something with Iron Sisters and Isabel in, like, book 5 in the City of Lost Souls, because in City of Lost Souls, Isabel and Jocelyn go to see the Iron Sisters. But we had the whole that, you know, basically Isabel wants to meet the Iron Sisters, and, you know, I've even wanted to be one. So she's obviously trying to say, no, my wound is fine, you know, I want to lead this mission. Aldertree's like, I can't let you do that because you got that injury. So he gives her this stuff. I forget what he called it. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm forgetting, like, all the shit. But, like, he gives her this ointment or something and puts it on her wound or something. And I guess it feels like incredibly good or something. It's like it's almost like a drug or something. Like, it puts her into, like, this euphoric, like, this state where she's like, oh, like, it's kind of weird, but like I don't know what it is. I have a feeling it's some type of, like, drug or something that she's gonna get addicted to if she keeps using it or something. But it's obviously, I guess it's for the wound, but I feel like there's more to it than that. So I don't know. That whole thing was kind of weird, but I feel like that stuff that she's using for her wound is gonna end up being a problem later on. So we had that. And at the end, we had a scene of Luke, and he was laying in the forest, and he didn't have any clothes on. He was in the forest, and he was laying down, and there was, like, blood on his hands, and, like, he was looking up at the sky and everything. Luke is obviously devastated because of what happened to Jocelyn. I don't think we actually got to see his reaction. I don't think, but we see this final scene with Luke in the forest, and it looks like he's just really devastated, or possibly he's wounded or something, because we saw blood, and it looked like he might have something wrong with him, or maybe he's just devastated. I'm not sure, but it looked like he was trying to transform into his werewolf form, but so that was kind of a cliffhanger ending. And then obviously at the ending we got the Shadowhunter funeral. And Clary's just like, I don't know if I can do this, and Jason's just like, yes, you can. So they go down the aisle together and stand up at the front next to Jocelyn's body, and that's when Clary starts, you know, Clary says Jocelyn's name and starts breaking down and crying, and it was really sad. Like, it was really sad. You could see Alec was just like, like he was feeling really badly too, and it was sad. It was really sad. So we got that. Clary finally coming to the realization that her mom is actually dead. Which I still can't believe. I'm still kind of shocked about. But yeah, that was basically what happened in this episode. So not a bad episode overall. Pretty good. They're keeping up the pace. So not a bad episode overall. Maybe not the best this season, but pretty good. So yeah, thumbs up. And yeah, so that's it for this review. And I will talk to you guys next week for the review of episode 6 of Shadowhunters. So of season 2. So later.